chew gum like a cow, so no. Not today.
Not today, Becky. Not today. Okay. Everybody's ready? Okay, we're good. Testing. I think we're good.
Yep, I think so. Testing.
I think we're good. Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to Return of the Living Dead Girls.
Hello. Hi.
This is your host. Hostess. Hostesses.
Hostesses. With the mostesses.
Rachel, Elaine.
And Nikki was So, we're going to be recording visually today also, so if you follow us on YouTube, then you'll be able to see some of the stuff.
Yes,
while we talk about what we're going to talk about today. We just took a really big shot of gin and juice. You're welcome.
Do you notice that every time people are going to think we're alcoholics because every time we do an episode, they're like, we always talk about taking a shot or we're drinking.
They can think I'm an alcoholic because I know I'm fucking not. I literally, I will take this shot that we just took, and that's it. Mm-hmm. That's literally
Well,
it.
I can't say the same for myself, so there that is.
Girl,
I'm not
please.
alcoholic.
I ain't worried about
I don't care about what you think, okay? Anyways, off topic there. All right. So,
anyways, yeah, welcome back to Return of the Living Dead Girls. Today,
welcome back. We took a shot.
We have a good episode. I'm excited about the topic. Well, it's her topic. We kind of switch back and forth and picking them. So this one's more kind of her.
This was mine. Yeah. This was my pick. And I wanted to talk about the national forest mysteries that are happening, that have happened, the weird paranormal, weird creepy incidences. Yes. Maybe even some maybe criminal stuff, but I don't know. I mean, it's so many things.
Absolutely criminal stuff.
Yes, I mean, as we know, and I always believe that there's just so much that goes on in national parks or just forests in general. Let's just say forests in general.
Yes, yeah.
And
yes.
I think that things just kind of, I don't know, I just think there's a whole nother realm out there that we don't know about and that we can't understand.
Possibly a whole bunch of different realms, right? Because I'm thinking humans, we do not know everything that's happening. Okay, no. That's one thing I know for sure. Yes. Is there's a lot of things we don't know how or why it's happening or even about it, so that is going to definitely kind of go with this topic of the national and state parks for sure.
Yes. So, to get right into it, I mean, like I said, I
get into it.
Get into it. Okay. I don't think anybody knows what we're talking about on that.
I bet some do because she's like a little viral. So yeah.
I don't even know her name.
If you know, you know. Oh, I don't know her name. I know that she was with that girl named Whoa Becky.
Oh, is that her? Whoa Becky?
The girl that she hangs out with, or that the reason that I kind of saw her, I guess, on the internet. That's internet.
If y'all know
shit.
Whoa Becky, there's a girl that she hangs out with that we absolutely adore.
Yeah, she looks like she's a lot of fun, but she does kind of look like she's an alien also.
Yes, which I'm sure she.
And she might have some kind of
But we do love her.
She might have some kind of disorder or I don't know, whatever.
And no offense to that,
but girl, alien realness, period.
I mean, yeah, she's okay, no offense to her, but I'm sure everybody knows who the fuck she's talking about. Yes. She's literally there's memes on her, there's videos about it, it's all good.
So having said that, get into it.
We love it. Get into it.
What you gonna start us out with tonight?
Okay, we're gonna start. So basically, I wanted to start right off the bat. I actually searched, obviously we know Reddit has a slew of information.
Ooh, I didn't even get to Reddit. That's so funny.
Reddit has so much stuff about national parks and the park rangers, and they call it the search and rescue, which is SAR. and the stories and all that. And so I went skimming through a few, you know, because I was like, I want to hear. And I mean, usually when I would listen to like other Spotify podcasts and episodes and creepy true stories and YouTube and all that, like there was a few things that people have also, they've gotten the information from Reddit. Totally. So y'all may have heard of some of these, maybe not, I don't know. But basically my first story here is going to talk about camping. A person who went camping in a national park. They were somewhere at a national park, and as
so many
you know,
horror movies start like that.
I mean, yeah, so many horror movies start when you're camping.
Yes, when you're in the woods.
So basically, this one is from a person called Desperate Currency. That was their name on Reddit. So if you're listening, if you know who that is, well, shout out.
Shout out, yeah.
So basically, I kind of cut off a little bit of the because, you know, it was a long story. I just kind of got to the juiciness of it. So they went camping. It was a woman. She went camping. She was, you know, by herself, obviously, in the park, whatever, in a tent. She said she had kind of been hearing weird noises already. But, you know, of course, you just chalk it up to just
being in the forest, in the woods.
Maybe thinking
you
about
hear some weird shit out there. You're always gonna hear weird shit.
Yeah, you know, yeah, exactly. You're just thinking, oh, it's an animal. Maybe it's a nearby camper. Who knows? You know, I don't know. But so they went there, and then this is where I started off with the juiciness. It says, just before bed, I heard footsteps, very gravelly gravelly / rocky area. So you can imagine there's rocks and all that. So you're gonna hear the footsteps crunch.
Absolutely.
Says just outside my tent to my left, but I figured it was just an animal. I ended up falling asleep, but at 3:45ish in the morning, I was woken up by something. I thought it was just the wind because the whole night had been pretty dead silent until then. But then I heard more shuffling around, maybe like 4 footsteps, but now coming from my right. Just as I was about to convince myself it was nothing, I saw a flash go off outside my tent.
Oh my God.
I started realizing that since I technically was on a ranch, okay, that's right. This person was like on a ranch, like near a state or a national park. Okay. So she said, technically I was on a ranch, even though the edge of it, maybe the owner had some sort of satellite on one of the red rocks and it was flashing every couple of minutes. Which is logical. That's a logical thing, like, you know, yeah, satellite something. Mm-hmm. As I try to sleep again, my eyes are just closing. Another flash goes off outside, but this time it was way closer, way brighter, and coming from a different area. To be clear, it wasn't just a flash, and that's it. It was literally like a camera flash. Like I saw the kind of double shutter a camera flash makes, and I could also see the main circle of light at the center of the flash that then plumes out.
Oh, damn.
Like a camera flash does.
Like, I
hope I'm explaining that right. Yeah, so I guess she's,
yes.
Yeah. Anyway, for the next 2.5 hours, this flash would circle around my tent, coming from all directions. Sometimes super close to the canvas of my tent. Sometimes further away and duller. But I never heard any footsteps.
Wait. One more time, say that again.
She said that for the next 2.5 hours, the flash
2.5 hours?
Yeah,
I'm pulling my gun out, bitch. If I'm going camping, someone's got to have a gun. I'm just saying, the way that shit...
I'm assuming this person probably didn't have a gun. Maybe they did. I don't know.
All right, keep going.
Okay. And then she said, but what's odd about this is I never heard any footsteps circling me. So the flashes are going around the tent, but she doesn't hear nothing.
Okay, creepy.
And then she said the flashes... I mean, I would be creeped the fuck out if I see a flash, like a camera flash, literally right on the wall of my tent.
I mean, footsteps, automatic, you're fucking getting creeped out. You're scared. And then the flashes, though, like, I don't know. I mean, you always say what you would do, but...
Yeah, you probably would be scared as hell if it actually is happening.
Really fucking frozen, just can't move, can't think.
Yeah, because, I mean, I don't know, girl. But then it says, it literally looked like someone had put the camera right up to the zipper and clicked a photo. So that's pretty damn close.
What the fuck, yeah.
That's real close.
Yes, too close.
She said, also to be clear, my tent wasn't see-through. It was super thick canvas. So even if there was a person out there trying to take pics of me in my tent, they couldn't have seen me inside.
Right.
I've been trying to come up with non-creepy explanation for this. At first, I thought maybe lunar photographers. But literally the number one rule in lunar photography is no lights, no flash. My other theory was heat lightning, but then I wouldn't have seen the light coming from from overhead and not right against my tent. Not to mention the distinct center circle of light that had plumed out. And that was it. So that was one person's story. And I'm thinking, I mean, maybe aliens? I mean, because she said she heard footsteps, but then she said she saw all the lights flashing and that she didn't hear any footsteps during that.
So, one thing about these national park and state park stories, because there's like literally thousands of them, just weird shit happening, possibly aliens, possibly paranormal, possibly mimics, literally possibly shit from like other dimensions or something.
Yeah, that too.
I'm really gonna go there because some of these stories are really that far out. But yeah, I mean, aliens, maybe.
I don't know.
That's all I can really say because
it's weird though. I mean, that is weird. I mean,
and I would be scared. I'm like 2.5 hours of that, girl.
Yeah,
I don't
flashes.
I don't know if I'm gonna be sitting in there for 2.5 hours. Like,
I mean, at some point, I think maybe I would want to try to like open my zipper and look out and be like, what is that? You know?
And if you don't have a weapon and you're in the woods, like, don't do that. Don't do that. Because you can have the best intentions, be going out and be camping, hiding a motherfucking hoe, but here we are when some like animal or some person.
You should always have a dog, I think, with you.
I mean, that would be helpful too, for sure.
But I know not everybody has a dog.
Yeah, and not everybody has time or wants a dog either.
I would set up motion detections like around my tent. You know that doo-doo, like the one that I have for Ghost Hunting?
Yeah,
I'd maybe get like 3
scary.
of those. But if that went off and I'm in my tent,
because
I would be like, oh! That would make it worse. I don't know. I'd be like, oh shit, it went off.
So something I wanted to touch on as far as this whole topic in general, and I had just mentioned to her before we started, is Mr. Ballin.
Okay, yeah, we all know Mr. Ballin.
Mr. Ballin. He has like almost 10 million followers on YouTube.
He's so
the
good
last
at
time I checked.
storytelling.
So good. I was listening to him. I didn't get to Reddit, but I did get to Mr. Ballin.
Okay.
So he has a whole thing dedicated to Missing 411, which is a book series that was written by a retired police chief or like a detective or something like that. And David Paulides. Yes. And he's written multiple books about thousands of different cases that have happened, weird people gone missing, just crime also, but some of them in there are very strange
and weird.
They're very, very strange. Some of the ones involving children as young as
lots of children.
2 or 3 years old, and some of those scenarios with the kids, honestly, it really makes me kind of lean more towards the possibility of like other realms like another dimension or something in caves.
Oh my god.
Because I read
Cave
like
systems.
a handful of different things about people's items being found in caves, or a child talking about or like telling their story after they were found again about being led to a cave or being in a cave. And the kids talking about, Mr. Wolf was taking care of me, or Mr. Bear was feeding me berries.
Oh my god.
Or Mr. Bear was like, hopefully I'm not infringing on one of your stories.
Go ahead, tell me. I mean, it is, I do have a story, but I'm kind of
being real general about it. But good. But yeah, several. That's what it kind of made me think as far as that, like, because at first, like, some of them could be mimics, which I think it could still be that. And then it made me think, like, are all mimics bad?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, mimics from what I understood, I mean, yes, aren't they
Are
like
bad.
spirits? Yeah, like that are meant to lure you and kill you or get you or whatever they do to you.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know.
That's majority of the stories that I've read. But one of the stories about a kid in a state or national park, it made me wonder that. Because they said that they were led away by someone that looked like someone they actually, loved and spent time with.
Oh, see, I didn't read that.
And they weren't harmed though. But they were led away by someone that looked just like this person. And I'm thinking, I wonder...
There has to be a spirit. Well, mimic a spirit, because they say obviously spirits will take on the form of something or somebody that you know. Mm-hmm. And that mimics, obviously, when people say, I heard somebody in the other room that sounded like blah, 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 but it wasn't them, or they weren't home, or,
Right.
But that's, I don't know.
I know. It's weird. I'm like, those kids' stories, I know they're kids, but at the same time...
But they're all very similar. That's what's weird about it. Mm-hmm. And that's what I had recalled reading too. I was like, these are all very similar, and they're all around the same age.
Right.
Which is, there's something to do with the children in that age range.
I know, I was thinking that too. And then I was wondering, because I was reading the stories about it, and I was like, oh my God, what I would really love to know and see some kind of like data on is the kids that were returned. How are they in life now? Because they're grown up now.
That's true.
They're living. They have their personality. They have courts.
Are they okay? Do they have mental issues?
Do they
now?
experience weird shit? Like, are they, psychic? Do they have some kind of connection with another
side? I did think that too. I was like, oh, what are they now as adults? Yeah.
I know, and I was really thinking that because one of the stories I'm thinking that kid was brought back, quote unquote.
Well, it kind of makes you think. You never really are. You're not really shown how they're brought back. They just end up being found.
Right. Yeah. In places that typically people have already looked, because search parties get thrown together and they're searching for sometimes weeks for these people. Any kind of sign.
Dogs with them, everything.
Any kind of sign, and there's typically always nothing, like literally nothing. Some of these people like vanish
into thin air.
And
the kids are found basically, literally, probably where a lot of the search and rescue team is like, well, we searched that area already. Yeah, how did they end up back there? Like, that's weird.
It's weird.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, did you have a story linked to the kid stuff? Or?
Because when you mentioned about the bear and Mr. Bearman, I did read one about a wolf person or whatever, where I think it was a little girl and she said the wolf helped her or something. But I was like, that one, I wasn't really sure about that one. But this one was on USA Today article, and when I had read it, because I think I had seen this article and I had already started reading about the missing kids and like seeing with a bear man or a fuzzy man or whatever. And I was like, that seems weird. But people were literally chalking it up to like a bear actually helping this kid. Mm-hmm. And they're thinking, oh, this bear is a hero and helped them. So basically, just to make the long story short, it was a 3-year-old boy. He was found alive in the woods of North Carolina after he went missing for 2 days. Said he spent time with a bear. And his name was Casey Hathaway. Disappeared last year. This is like the article. Disappeared last Tuesday. He had been playing with 2 other children in his grandmother's yard in North Carolina, according to the county sheriff. Thursday, Casey was found calling for his mother about a quarter of a mile away, 40 to 50 yards deep into the woods. He was soaking wet, cold, and tangled in thorn bushes. Hughes said rescuers waded through nearly waist-deep water to get to the toddler. How did he get there and how did he stay alive?
Right.
He hung out with the bear for 2 days, is what his aunt Hathaway shared in a now private Facebook post. She didn't say whether the bear was real or imagined. His aunt called her nephew's safety a miracle and said God sent him a friend to keep him safe. Casey's mother gave authorities the same report, that he had a friend in the woods that was a bear. Hughes says bears are common in the area, but he thought the comment was more than cute than factual. So basically that was like the gist of it. Okay. So the little boy 3 years old, missing in the forest for 2 days. Cold, wet. And, you would think, like, I mean, I guess that's possible. Yes, the little boy could go missing for 2 days and survive, Right. But he said a bear helped him. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking...
Which is a common thread that you see in a lot of stories like that.
Yes. And so...
Some kind of, like, furred...
Being. Yes, exactly. So then I'm going to go into another... So the bear thing, so this little boy says the bear kept them safe. Okay, well, let's actually break that down. I'm thinking, I mean, maybe a bear would, like an actual bear, maybe bears would be like, this is a child, I'm not going to hurt it. I don't know. We don't know. Maybe the bear
I feel like they could.
Maybe it was a mama bear. Maybe it was like, you know what?
Right. And they realize it's a baby, a child. A human, because bears have interactions with humans, and sometimes they're positive, sometimes humans help the bears or whatever, but so it could happen. I do feel like it is a possibility that it was an actual bear, but
it's a possibility, but
all of those stories, like, they're just bears all over in the woods, just helping kids,
children,
or taking kids, I should say.
Kids. Well, so here's the other one that you were talking about the berry picking one. This is the actual story.
Okay.
That basically says a family had been out berry picking in an area of the forest very close to the entrance of the park. So this was the state park or national park, which I didn't get, but
I didn't really pin down a lot of the state park names or national park.
I don't even know if they actually mentioned the names, to be honest. Not so many.
Yeah.
Because it's a secret.
Well, there's so many. There's literally hundreds. So
That's
it's like,
true.
Okay, yeah.
So they said...
We're great at this.
I mean, yeah. So this was a family. So apparently they were berry picking very close to the entrance. So not deep into the Okay, never mind.
They're not deep into the entrance. I'm also listening.
Okay, great. She's over here dilly-dallying and
dilly-dallying.
And so they had 2 little boys, both under the age of 5. So again, under the age of 5, probably around 3, maybe 4, And at the same point of the day, one of them vanishes. There's an absolutely massive search, and they find absolutely nothing. It's another one of those cases, this is actually from the park ranger that was telling the story. It's another one of those cases where it's like the kid was never there in the first place. The dogs just sit down and don't pick up on anything. No trace of the kid is found. The search goes on for about 2 months, but is eventually called off. Fast forward to 6 months later. 6 months later, think about this.
Half a fucking year.
And this little kid is missing.
That's a long damn time.
And 6 months later, the family comes back to place flowers for the kid at a memorial that had been set up there. They bring their other son while they're placing the flowers. They lose sight of the kid for about 3 seconds, and in that span of time, he vanishes into thin air. No way. The other son, yeah. Now, obviously, the parents are beyond devastated. It's awful enough to lose one child, but to lose 2 is beyond imagining. The search is huge. One of the largest in state history. There are about 300 volunteers combing every inch of the park looking for the kid. But again, there's no trace of him. The search goes on for about a week with people looking miles from the part of the park he vanished from. And then almost 2 weeks later, a volunteer almost 15 miles from the designated search area radios in that he's found the kid. They assume that the kid, one of them. So I guess the other little boy never got found.
Damn.
Which is interesting. So they assumed he was dead, but the volunteer says he's not only alive, he's in good shape. KD, which is I guess the name of the officer, and her team go out to recover the kid, and when they get there, she can't believe that this is the kid that's been missing. His clothes are clean, there's no dirt on him anywhere, and he doesn't appear traumatized. The volunteer says he found the kid sitting on a log playing with a little twig bundle that's bound together with some old rope. Katie asks him where he's been and who he was with for 2 weeks. And the kid tells her that he's been with the fuzzy man. Now, Katie firmly believes in Bigfoot, so she gets all excited and asks what he means by fuzzy. Was he hairy? But the kid says, no, he wasn't hairy. He was a fuzzy man. And he describes a man that's blurry. What the fuck? Like when you close your eyes, but not all the way closed. Oh my God. So actually, it's not even like hairy. It's like fuzzy. Oh my gosh. He says the man comes out the trees, or the man came out of the trees, took the kid with him deep into the woods. The kid says he slept in a hollow tree and the fuzzy man gave him berries to eat. Katie asks if the man was mean, if he scared the kid, and the kid says no, he wasn't scary, but I didn't like how he didn't have any eyes.
Oh my God. Oh, wow.
Katie says they get the kid back to headquarters and a cop takes him into town to talk to him more about what happened. She's friends with the cops that talked to him, and she said that the kid described being kept in the tree by the fuzzy man and given berries whenever he was hungry. He was allowed to wander around with a very specific clearing, but when he tried to go further, the fuzzy man would get mad and yell real loud, even though he didn't have a mouth. When the kid got scared at night, the fuzzy man made it go brighter and gave him the twig bundle. He said the fuzzy man was going to keep him, but he had to let go because the kid wasn't the right kind. He either can't or won't elaborate more on that. The cops are just sort of left scratching their heads, and the search for his brother is renewed with no results. The kid has no idea where his brother might be, and they may never find the other kid.
I mean, yeah, over 6 months at that point, right?
And I'm thinking, so what did the fuzzy man mean by he's not the right kind? So do you think maybe the brother just
was the right kind?
Yeah.
Whatever that fucking means. Because as soon as you said that, I'm thinking, the right kind? I'm like, the right kind for what, obviously?
Right? For eating later? What the fuck?
I don't think so.
For just being kept in another dimension?
I don't know. I mean,
and why would a kid make that up? And how does a kid survive for 2 weeks in a national park?
Girl, that is a very interesting one. I didn't come upon that, but that's really interesting.
Girl.
Because, I don't know, because when I was reading some of the stories and the kids were saying similar things, and I was starting to think like, okay, other dimensions, or in the forest, amongst the trees, in the caves, there is obviously other shit going on. Maybe only kids.
Well, obviously we know kids are more susceptible to things like.
So I'm like, maybe they're like either chosen or they're tested, but for what? Like, I don't know.
I don't know either, but
I don't think it's necessarily like to be eaten or like something scary or bad like that, but it's something mystical. I don't know.
And it makes you wonder though, and think like, because if you think about the thousands of people, if not millions of people, I should say, that go missing in national parks, and they're never found. Not all of them can be dead.
Yeah, no, and there's so many different things happening. I'm going to say that also. I do think that some of them are literally killed by humans. I think some of them, there's just so many things. There could be some mystical stuff going on. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I have also read too, just like based on because I remember I went in like a whole wormhole when I was, a few years ago.
There's thousands of stories. It's crazy.
It is wild, and like some people have said that and these were adults too, where like they said like they were with somebody, and the other person like turned a corner and disappeared.
Right.
And they're like, they don't know where the fuck they went. They're like, where are they? Then led to a search. And these people are either, one, they're never found, or two, they're found either they're dead, but they're found also, their bodies are found like hundreds of miles away from where they originally were. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they said that they found people like in mountain, like higher cliffs that they're like, how the fuck could they have gotten up there? And that's weird.
It is weird. It is weird.
I'm like, I don't understand. There's something going on in the forest, okay?
And that was something that Mr. Ballin definitely touched on, because he has a whole like playlist for the missing 411s. It's just a whole bunch of different stories. Go on YouTube. It's really interesting. You know, Mr. Ballin, he'd be laying down the track, okay? But one of the stories that he was talking about, there was a guy, he went solo camping. He told, I guess, officials, rangers, whatever, at the beginning, like, I'm going to be going to this place. I'm going to be gone for 2-3 weeks, like, just FYI, you know, which is good, you know, even though you're going solo, somebody knows exactly kind of the region you're going to be in. So 2 weeks in, I guess there were the rangers or whatever checking out something that was close by, and they're like, hey, we're gonna go ahead and go and check on him, you know, just see what's going on. And they went over there, saw his campsite was kind of just, it didn't look necessarily like he had been there for 2 weeks. It kind of looked like maybe he was getting ready to leave, or he was just, his stuff was everywhere. It was just awry, I will say.
Like kind of just strewn all over the place.
So they're like, okay, maybe he went on a day hike, maybe he was doing this and that. So came back a day later, everything was still in the same exact spot. Nothing had been moved, nothing had been touched. None of the food that was out or inside the tent had been messed with. There was no like signs of animals. There was no sign of what they called a death struggle. If he was attacked by an animal, you know,
or somebody,
there was no animal. There was like nothing. I think one of the
he disappeared into thin air.
Like one of the only things that they really had some kind of clue about was there was a knife sheath inside the tent that didn't have the knife.
Okay.
And that was it. And like everything else was just kind of like.
They never found him, or what?
They never found him or any kind of fucking sign of him. I think also a piece of that was that his gloves, like his jacket and like a pant, like very essential gear basically, was found, you know, 10 some miles away, buried in the snow, and they only found that because the dogs found it.
That's weird.
There's so many weird stories. Again, I think it's just a mixture of things. I think that there's literally mystical, I'm just gonna kind of say, to generalize, I think there could be paranormal. I don't know if that could be obviously intertwined.
It's definitely paranormal out there.
And I think that, you know, there's also just human beings killing folks as well.
I mean, because if you think about it, there's like so much of the forest that are like dense forestry that I think even in national parks, like, we haven't really been able to survey because it's hard to get to.
Right.
And so if you think about it, if we're not able to get there, like, what's there? You know, like, what could be out there? You know, there could be other shit out there. And I have read other stories too where people feel like there's been instances where hikers have said they were hiking and then they kind of like lost a track of time. That has happened a lot to people where like they kind of blacked out and then they kind of like snap out of it or wake up or whatever. Like they were hiking and then all of a sudden it's like they lost time. They kind of snap out or wake up and look around and they're somewhere else in the forest and it's like been hours. And there's people and that's how they got lost. Like some people end up getting lost like that, like where they have found people and they don't know how they got there. Even the hiker didn't know how they got there. They're just kind of like delusioned or like, what's that word? Like,
just dazed.
I'm
sure.
Yeah. Like they just kind of don't remember what happened. They don't know how they got there.
And I was going to say also, as far as like there being so much land and not being able to kind of survey everything, which is very true. But I also think sometimes even parts that are surveyed, there could be, you know, it's all, you know, what if or whatever, but there could be things that we can't see with our eyes, you know?
Dimension. I think there's dimensions in there.
Yeah, I mean things that sometimes maybe kids or sometimes animals can see or sense that we can't, and that's also, you know, in regards to like paranormal or stuff like that. So I do feel like that's out there too, because there's just, it's nature, you know.
Nature.
It's nature, and that encompasses a lot of different things. So to kind of touch on the paranormal thing, I have a little story here.
Okay, yes, tell it.
This is one of my screenshots that I took.
Okay, girl.
So this is, I don't see, it's from Shaka Guide, okay? And there is a national park called Joshua Tree National Park. Did you?
I've heard of it.
Okay, yes. It says it was established as a national park on October 31st in 1994, which is a spooky night of its own. It says, but honestly, there isn't much else to be afraid of at the national park. Thousands of artists, musicians, and creative go each year because of the inspiration the desert's rocks formation bring. And the trees, I mean, obviously those weird fucking trees, they look really, really cool. It says one musician hasn't left despite the fact that he died in 1973. So this is, again, kind of going into the paranormal. The spirit of Graham Parson. So Graham Parson was a musical genius who collaborated with bands like the Rolling Stones and Emmylou Harris. You heard of the Byrds? He was in the Byrds, this band from like the 60s maybe, in the 70s. But he was in the Byrds. He and his musical friends spent many drug-fueled nights at the Joshua Tree. I mean, come on, yeah, if you're in the desert, fuck yeah.
You gotta do drugs in the forest.
In the desert.
If you haven't done drugs in the forest, then you ain't living.
Okay, like, let's go to the desert and meet Jim Morrison.
Take a hallucinogenics and do it.
That's it. Just go get weird. Drug-fueled nights at the Joshua Tree Inn, because there's like an inn, a hotel, or whatever. Jamming, creating, and making memories. Sadly, Graham passed away from a drug overdose in the wee morning hours of September 18th, 1973. His father tried to have his body returned to his hometown, but his friends, quote unquote, kidnapped him first, the body, basically. Okay. According to Graham's wishes, they took his body to the desert and set it ablaze. Though his body may be gone, Graham Parsons' spirit still hangs around the Joshua Tree Inn. Guests have reported hearing faint singing, smelling cigarette smoke, and even hanging out with Mr. Parsons himself, watching the sunrise and talking about life.
Okay.
So that's just one story. It's a kind of a famous one. Also, there's this lady that I love and follow on YouTube. I think it's called, she's a mortician, basically, like short black hair, bangs, and she had a video about that too, and she was talking about him being an iconic corpse, basically. Okay. Because they stole and burnt his shit. And honestly, I thought about I thought about myself in that story, because I thought that is so fucking punk rock. Because him and this dude, the guy, one of the main guys that set up going to like steal his body.
Like, I'm taking his body.
A few weeks or a little, time before, they were at a friend's funeral, a member of the Byrds. Okay. And they both had a conversation like, dude, it's like this Catholic kind of really stuffy, no offense, like funeral. Okay. Religious, whatever. And he's like, dude, no. He's like, I don't want this. He's like, matter of fact, I hope somebody gets my body and like goes, has a beer and like burns me out in the desert.
Right, I'm taking your body.
Yeah. So like the guy went to go do that, and but I guess they experience paranormal stuff because of his.
Because of his like spirit, you think?
That's what some people say. So I don't know. But a lot of these national parks, though, some of the paranormal stuff, it's linked to just the history of that land, of course, Native American stuff.
Yeah, Native Americans are
colonization, and so.
Speaking of that, because I was going to mention I was looking for something here because I forgot about that, but I have read about Native Americans, folk, like the folklore, because obviously, we know they were there first. They were there, the tribe were there at the national parks way before they were national parks.
Right.
So I have read some stories instances where a lot of the Native Americans were like, again, I don't know the tribe, but I know it was a tribe, obviously, and they would actually talk about certain areas of the now national parks where they just wouldn't go to because they would say that side is their park, their side. Mm-hmm. Now, what they meant by their side or their, I guess they're talking about the spirit sides, or they said their sides.
Okay.
And that there were certain parks that they just respected, or certain parts, I guess, of the parks that they just wouldn't go to because they said it was almost like they knew, like, that's not our territory to tread on.
Right.
And that's really interesting because I'm like, well, dang, what were they talking about? Like, obviously, clearly they have known something or seen some stuff or
experienced or got a message or something. And that's what I was thinking, actually, when I read that story about the guy and for the 2 or 3 weeks solo camping, and they found all his stuff and nothing was like out of place, kind of, and there was no signs of animals or anything like that in this wilderness. And I'm thinking, what if that is an area kind of like Bermuda Triangle-ish, that is just this section of the world, for whatever reason, has bad energy or some kind of void or some kind of just portal.
I think that.
I don't know.
I mean, I think that's very possible and very, that's very, what's that word I'm looking for? Plausible, yeah, believable. It seems like that would be a case, yes. Because there's Bermuda Triangle on the oceans. There's more than one. Why wouldn't there be any on land? I mean, surely there would be. And again, the forests. The forests are like, I do think that because obviously like the nature, the trees, the rocks, the creeks, like all of that probably creates some sort of like field, energetic field that like forms portals. I don't know.
Yeah.
They even say Bigfoot is like a portal, but it comes from portals. It's interdimensional.
Yeah, I've heard that before too. And I was thinking about Bigfoot when you're talking about the kid story, and I'm thinking people have that, theory as well about that being the hairy bear or the creature, because I'm thinking, okay, these kids are saying it's like Mr. Bear or Mr. Wolf or Wolf whatever, or Bear whatever, and I'm thinking, I wonder, they're generalizing these kids. They're using the information and the vocabulary that they have as under 5-year-old, right, so they're just the best that they can. I'm thinking, what would they draw? Maybe what would they? Yeah. I don't know. But to go on the complete fucking flip side of mystical and paranormal and dimensions and all this stuff, we already know in the freaking national parks and state parks there are murders.
Yes, absolutely.
There are murders. Where there's a lot of people, I'm coming to find, as someone that's like has a lot of true crime under my belt. Wherever there's a lot
under
of
my
humans,
belt, I got true crime.
Wherever there's a lot of humans, like there is fucking crime happening.
Oh yeah.
I don't care how it's happening. Yeah. How wholesome, or how whatever.
That would be a whole nother podcast of just about the crimes that have happened in national parks. Not even as paranormal.
Yeah.
Just the crime.
Yeah. I'm like, and I also want to say, this is another little tidbit I wanted to share about that, because I was like, okay, all these serial killers. There was one guy in particular, his name was Israel something. Do you recognize that?
Don't you do it, Louie. Say hello. Okay.
Oh, right.
He said, fuck off. off.
That's my crazy cat, my beastie boy.
He's getting ready to knock over that camera too.
So, what I was researching though, after listening to this story, Mr. Ballin has an episode about this guy, actually, Israel, whatever his fucking name is.
Israel something.
Yeah.
Something.
He doesn't even deserve to have his name fucking said. He was a coward and he killed just kind of randomly, but one of the things that he did was stash kill kits, which were basically like buckets stuffed with gear that he would need all around the country in different parks and different places. But he just kind of, I don't know. He was one of them that was... Okay, let me put you down here. How about that? Go down there.
He wanted to join the podcast.
He did, and he did for a second. But something I wanted to share, okay, because, again, as a true crime person...
Enthusiast.
This is... Enthusiast, yeah. True crime person. What does that mean? I'm a murderer?
You're a murderer. You're a true crime person.
I'm a true crime person doing true crimes out here. So, as of 2020, this is Google telling me this. It says, as of 2020, there were 3,613 documented serial killers in the United States, the most in the world. However, the number of known active serial killers has decreased significantly in recent years. Explanation: in the 70s, there were nearly 300 known active serial killers in the United States. In the 80s, there were more than 250. In the 2010s, there were fewer than 50 known active killers. Which I thought that was really interesting. And one of the reasons they obviously said that that's happening is because of forensics, cameras, just technology in general, you know, making it harder to get away with shit. Because in the 70s, you could just fucking go and kill someone and go home and eat dinner and, like, you would never get caught. So...
Yep.
And then do it again for breakfast, like...
Right, just do it all fucking day.
But that was something that, again, yeah, it's a whole nother thing, but it's definitely a lot with the national parks and all that as far as people murdering folks and stashing, dropping bodies.
And it makes me wonder, like, maybe, yeah, like you said, like, there's, I mean, obviously people get murdered, killed, and all that. That's negative energy being left behind. And maybe all that negative energy that has accumulated has formed something that is obviously, I mean, clearly bad, malicious, and it's just in the forest, like...
Waiting to get people?
Yeah, you know, forming shit, whatever. I mean, there's so many things. There was another thing I wanted to talk about. This is really me. I like talking about the creepy factors or the weird shit happening. Okay. There was a thing that I had...
another story in relation to that, too, later.
There was another incident where basically I was listening to an audiobook, which I'm going to get the name of it. Hold on, guys. Let me get the name of it. I was listening to it because I was like, oh, I want to hear. And it was one, it's called, okay, here we go. It's called Strange Tales from National Parks. And it's on Spotify. It's an audiobook if you want to read it or listen to it. It's, you know, it's short. Each little track is like short, but it's interesting.
Okay. I spilled water on myself, but I was listening.
But one of them that I had, I was like, oh, that's weird. And I mean, there was a lot, but one that I particularly remember right now, there was this guy talking about he was a forest ranger. I guess he was inspecting. No, sir. You better not. You better not. You better not knock that camera down. But basically, this is a short one. Basically, all it was is that I guess the park ranger was investigating something, and he was just kind of patrolling whatever, right? And he says he sees a mountain lion corpse, like, you know, body, like on a tree. Trees, like it's, you know, hanging from the tree, and it says that the limbs were tore off of it and the head was missing. And he was like, he didn't know what animal really could do that. Yeah. And then he said that the limbs were missing, and then he sees the head he found the head, and it was like propped on a rock. And so he said he got the creeps. He was like, I didn't want to hang out there that long. He's like, but He thought, okay, maybe it's a bear. A bear could have did it, but then he was like, it is kind of unlikely that a bear could do that to a mountain lion because that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like bears and mountain lions don't.
It's so intentional.
Yeah, and he said that, you know, the way it was, I guess the arms were missing. It was ripped with something with extreme force, and the head. And then he said that it's weird that the head was just propped on a rock. And that the mountain lion, he said it almost looked like the body was hanging at the tree like a stash, like something, whatever did it was going to come back for it. So that was just weird. I was like, ooh, I would run away too, honestly.
I did read a handful of other stories too, from rangers and just people that worked at the parks about dark figures or creatures that they encountered, basically. And that's what that makes me think, because I'm thinking something really, really tall, or something that is, you know, obviously otherworldly.
Yeah.
Maybe even, I mean, that would be otherworldly, but I was going to say like demonic, or just something dark, you know, in general. But yeah, that is scary.
Yeah, it's wild. And I'm like, what? So I thought that was kind of interesting.
The limbs, I would be like, okay, that's weird. And then the head, though, I'm like, all right, Barbara.
And then it's propped on a rock, like, oh.
Right, it's not just like, that's weird. So I have one more little snippet in my phone here, and it's kind of leaning a little bit more towards the paranormal aspect, because that is a whole nother, this topic, national or state park, it's so general. I'm like, there's so many different ways that this goes, because there's so many different stories. But again, this one's a little bit more towards like paranormal. So, and I will butcher all the time pronunciation, you already know. So, the Ute tribe was one of the first Native American tribes to inhabit the lands that's now Rocky Mountain National Park. Long ago, a group of the Utes set up camp on the shores of Grand Lake. Without warning, they were ambushed by their Arapaho enemies. The men of the tribe fought them off, while the tribe's women and children boarded a canoe and attempted to escape. They made it halfway across when a sudden and unexpected wind capsized their boat. Everyone aboard drowned. For many years after these tragic events, the Ute people avoided the lake completely and believed that it was cursed. These days, it's said that on a quiet, hazy morning, you can see lost spirits of the Ute women and children rising from the mist and beckoning you to join them.
Interesting.
Again, with water and bodies and just water being haunted. I can't say enough of that. I just feel like,
oh yeah,
there's
body. That's gonna be another topic.
Like all rivers and all whatever is just haunted.
Haunted as fuck.
Dead body dust, as I've said before.
Dead body dust, just fucking everywhere in the world. The world is a graveyard.
I mean, yeah, that's... Yes.
The world is a graveyard.
Yeah, totally. Oh my God. Yeah.
Don't see me. Okay, anyways.
That could be a whole slogan for something else. The world is a graveyard. But I kind of love that.
I do. I was like, I had to do it. The world is a graveyard. Okay, anyways, I'll stop on that.
So I don't know if you had something else. I was going to kind of go off on something else kind of small that...
No, that was really it. Like, that was really... I mean, you could literally go on. Like, this could be a
whole series.
Oh, he decided to jump on...
Up on the cabinet.
Okay.
He gets up there.
He's like, I'm a mountain lion.
Before we close out, something else in relation to another episode that we've done. If you go back to one of our past episodes, we talked about Lady Bird Lake in Austin, Texas, and these bodies that, you know, a lot of them are classified as accidental drownings. And something that, in relation to our topic today, the national and state parks, is that is literally happening all over the nation. in different lakes and different rivers, that there are bodies just kind of inexplicably showing up and they're being classified as drownings.
Yeah.
And then in the reports or the medical examination, there's just a lot of evidence that's kind of saying, actually, Barbara, no, they probably didn't drown. Like, it's not making sense according to when they went missing versus when they were found, condition of the body, etc. But girl, again, with bodies in the water and these
water does damage to
national
body.
Yes, and that's, you know, a lot of what helped them determine like the timeline on stuff. But it's just crazy. There's people going missing, people coming back. There's people that are never found. They literally vanish, like no trace of them, no blood, no clothes, no shoes, like nothing. It's weird. It's very bizarre. And
weird.
if you're going to national parks, like, just be careful, dude. Like,
be
always
alert.
just
be aware.
Watch your group.
Respect the nature.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it also makes me wonder, like, sometimes maybe some of these people have gone missing or something happened to them because, you know, I mean, humans are fucking humans. A lot of people don't respect the
Humans
nature.
suck. We do suck.
Yeah,
even if you're a good person in humanity, we are consumers.
Yeah, you know, leaving trash at the park, whatever.
Yeah.
If you're disrespecting nature, you know, maybe the spirits of the park said, you know what, I got something for that ass.
Right.
And boom, you're never heard from again. I don't know, maybe. It's just so many different types of theories, I guess, or, you know.
Yeah. And sometimes
opinions.
you might just be the right type of person.
Oh my gosh,
your
I know,
energy,
right?
and they're like,
we want you.
We're gonna take you here, and we're gonna.
And you're never coming back.
Yeah.
And maybe, like, what if these people who went missing, some of them again are probably dead, and some of them may still be alive, and they're living their life in the cave
Some
system.
other
happily.
dimension. Yeah.
Or
in a cave system. Yeah.
And they're like, I don't want to even go back to the surface world. Maybe they're hypnotized. Maybe they don't even remember who they are anymore.
I wonder.
Maybe they're
too.
a bride to some subterranean creature. They're like.
And
yes.
then I was thinking, what if it's so good that if they're given the choice to come back or stay, they're just like, I'm staying.
I mean, it could very well be that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
Because I'm like,
our own theories, but maybe.
I mean, that's how crazy some of these stories
like we're gonna
really
wipe
are.
out your memory, and we're gonna give you a new name. Your name is now, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Your name is now a name that we cannot pronounce. You're now a reptilian bride. There you go.
But you love it.
But
so you
love
decide
it. I
to
mean,
stay.
You love it because it's so great down there. Now we're just making our own shit up.
You're
Anyways,
like, I love that reptilian. I don't know.
I love that reptilian D. And
I was going to say that, but I was like.
Go ahead and say it, girl. This is not rated PG. This is rated R. Oh, you have reptilian babies and shit.
Oh, that's scary.
Hey, but you may like it.
I don't know.
That D may be out of this world, or that pussy might be out of this world.
What if it's not even anything to do with genitalia?
Right? What if it's mental and the sex is so mind blowing? It's like the coneheads when they have sex mentally.
Right.
And it's like that.
Or in Demolition Man.
Exactly.
And they're just like, oh. Yeah. I mean.
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah. And honestly, human sex, sometimes we know how that can go. So we're like, we might as well. We might as fucking well.
Go ahead. I've tried everything else.
Blow my literal mind, okay? Because this pussy's tired. I'm tired of all the bullshit, okay?
Okay. On that note, it's time to go.
I guess that's the end.
Okay.
Well,
that's
again,
yeah.
we very briefly just touched on some of these stories, very general.
Check it out for yourself, guys.
So many stories. I mean, yeah, get into it.
Get into it.
Get into it. I hope y'all enjoyed, though. I hope y'all learned that national parks are for vacation, but they're also for disappearing a lot. That's not even
voluntarily or not, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
True that. Well,
until next time, guys.
Until next time, remember to return to the living dead, girls. I thought we were gonna say it together. I always want to say it together.
Ready?
Return to the living dead. I got it wrong. Damn it. Wait. I was ready the first time.
All right, guys. We're signing off.
We're signing off. Until next time. Peace out.
Peace out. Bye.
Bye.